Okay, folks, good morning. My name is Shannon Wright, Pastor Shannon Wright. We are here with another installment, super spectacular, Urban Engagement Initiative. All of this comes under Urban Engagement Initiative. This is Container to Table, Fish and Five Loaves. Just to be clear, Container to Table is the company that we usually use to get our tips and ideas and our gardening guides from and our seeds. And Fish and Five Loaves is the program to actually get our church partners and community partners involved in feeding you, the folks that are watching this and live in the communities we service. We are located in Baltimore City, and before COVID there were a whole bunch of food deserts and the high levels of food insecurity. So this is something that we put together to do to help folks be able to keep healthy food on the table. COVID didn't create the problem, but it made it a whole lot worse. So I've been talking over the last segments about containers, about how you can start this from things you have in your house without breaking the bank to get it going. So my husband said to me, at one of these times, since you keep talking about, you're going to talk about containers, you might want to do that. So this is that time. Now, this is a container where we had bought tomatoes, grape tomatoes. This is was salad, takeout. And these are the lids. These were Chinese food from one of our favorite restaurants. Containers and lids. This was from a cake bought in the bakery department at the local supermarket. This empty egg container. And these water bottles. So this is how you can actually get started with using some of the things around your house so you don't have to break the bank and going out and buying all these nice new shiny containers. Now, if you can and you want to, feel free. But if you're on a budget, like a lot of us are, there are ways to do this and get started with things you have around. So we're gonna start to show you some of the things you can do. Now you're probably wondering, how in the world do you plant in a cake container? I'm gonna show you. When you plant and sow your seeds inside, which you need to do 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, you should start planting your seeds. And for us in the Maryland area, we're about at that time. So we've already been planting and sowing seeds, as you all know. But if you haven't started, it's not too late. So I'm going to take a box cutter and try to carefully, without slicing a finger, put a hole in it, okay? Some people say I'm not good with sharp objects, so now that I've got the hole started, I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut a circle. Now you're probably wondering, well, one, you could tell I've done this before, and two, you're probably wondering why. Now, ladies, not to be sexist, but ladies, we have a tendency sometimes to save things. And our husbands say, what in the heck are you saving that for? It's a cake. You bought a cake. You shouldn't have eaten the cake. Your sugar didn't need the cake. You bought the cake. Now you keep the evidence of the cake. Yes, because now you can grow something healthy in it. As you can see, I cut a hole in the lid. The hole will match the knob that sticks out of the plate, this plate where the cake sits on. This now becomes our water catcher for when you put your seeds and your dirt in and you put it in your windowsill to start growing it before you plant it outside. Knob up, tray down, container on top. Now, the hole's a little too small, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And now, this cake container, you don't have to feel as guilty about buying a cake when you're trying to get ready for swimsuit weather, because now you can repurpose the container and grow all the vegetables you'll need to eat for your salads to be able to fit in your bathing suit. So, take the bottom, put this on top. The hole, it fits in the hole, but it's still not quite the size, and that's okay, because once we put the mulch for drainage and the dirt in, it'll weigh it down and it'll keep it down a little bit further. But we don't really want to create a tight seal because you want the water to drain out when there's too much water in the container. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Now, in a container this size, you can plant a whole bunch of different types of things. We are today going to plant some pepper seeds because I want to show how to be able to harvest your seeds. Now, what I show you on harvesting the seeds, if you say, oh heck no, I'm not going to do that, Don't worry, because you can go to container to table, go to peppers, and select the kind of seeds that you want. And I'll be giving you all that information later on. So for right now, our once sinful, calorie-filled container is now a useful veggie garden. Voila. Now, we're going to put some mulch in the bottom. And we got some rocks in there. We've got some wood twigs, all sorts of things. And the whole purpose of the bottom stuff that you put in is to be able to provide good drainage. So you've got that. Now you want to put some dirt in. And I'm going to cheat and use a container because I don't feel like getting my nails all embedded with dirt. So you're going to dump the dirt in. Break up the little clumps of dirt. And again, our dirt is already pre-mixed with perlite, peat moss, coffee grounds, which I use for organic material. And it's ready to go. So you've got your dirt, you've got your container. Now for your seeds. We're going to be planting peppers today, bell peppers, which I will warn you now, take a long time to grow. So, another thing that we had talked about, when you buy your bell peppers, core them like you would an apple. There are your seeds. This is what it looks like when you first cut it. Let it sit somewhere on a windowsill for a couple of days. Also yellow bell, all dried out. So we are going to take the dried out one and we are going to rub the seeds off, sprinkle them, and then put a little more dirt over the top. So now I've got some seeds. This is what it looks like. Still more seeds on here. But you're going to start to sprinkle the seeds. And there are folks that'll tell you how far out you should space and all of that sort of thing, which is true, but we're not going to do that today. Because for me, this is going to be my yellow bell seed starter container, and as they come up, I will go through, and once they get their secondary seeds, I will pull them out individually and transplant them instead of trying to wait for everything in the container. So this will be a continual starter for me for my yellow bells throughout the season. So I'm just going to roughly take the seeds off. There's a whole bunch of seeds in there, which ordinarily you would not do. But for me, I'm trying to get a massive amount of peppers going for you, so that next month you can come visit us at our Food on the Table, Food for Your Spirit event in Baltimore, and we will have plants ready for you to purchase in case you don't want to take the time to buy your peppers, core your peppers, dry your peppers, plant the seeds, and wait for them to grow. Now, we have our yellow bell pepper starter ready to go. Just so you can see. Again, former cake was in here. It was a lemon cake. It was really yummy. And it's now something healthy. Yellow bell peppers. That's one thing you can do with a container. Now, we also, I'm just going to put this out of the way, we also want to plant red bell peppers. Now, egg container. Quick way of being able to use your egg container as a planter. And we've used this one once before, and I'm going to do it a little differently than we did. Open it up, cut it in half. This side becomes your water catcher. This is where you plant. So you're going to take your scissors, you're going to poke little holes for drainage. Now, when you're starting seeds, you really don't water too much, so drainage shouldn't be an issue. If you're catching water in the drain, you're putting too much water in the plant. You're going to put little holes in. I know it's noisy, just bear with us. In all of the containers. Now, because it's going to be so small and not really have a lot of dirt in it, I'm not going to worry about mulch for drainage. But I am going to add a little bit of peat moss so that the soil is a little lighter in the section that I'm using. Mix that up a little bit. Then I'm going to take some of that dirt, and I'm going to sprinkle it in the egg crates. You want to fill it up a little more than halfway so you can put your seeds in and then top it off. Alright, so you don't need that. I'm going to fill this. I need a little bit more dirt. Same little leaf keeps coming up in here. We don't want him in there. You may wonder, why do you have leaves in the bucket of dirt? So, little tip. A lot of plants require organic material in the dirt because it gives it extra nutrients. So if you have a few leaves, if you have a few whatever, it doesn't hurt and it actually helps. I usually add coffee grinds and eggshells because those are organic matter that helps as well. So let me turn it this way. So you've got your egg crate, you've got your dirt in it. Now you want your seeds, you're going to sprinkle them in, top it off with a light, thin coat of dirt, and then this is how you repurpose your egg crate. Okay, so we'll add seeds to that later on. Next, let's see, what should we do next? What do you guys like to grow a lot of? We're going to do cucumbers next. Now, we like pickles, so we'll do a lot with cucumbers. This, cherry tomatoes were in here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put a little bit of mulch in the bottom, just a little, because it already has holes. So you want to kind of make sure you block them up a little bit so that everything doesn't come out through. And if everything comes out through, you're watering too heavy and too much, just so you know. Now, you've got your mulch in there, you want to add some dirt. Again, recognizing there are holes, so careful how you put it in because it will come out the sides. So you get that almost filled. It's actually a little too much. Take a little bit out. Okay, your your tomato container filled with your dirt. Then for me, I have a bag of seeds of things that I want to plant. And in this bag are my cucumber seeds. So I'm going to take those out. And I probably should have had them out already, but it's all right. So we're going to go with pickle bush, because they bush and they're made specifically for pickles, which means they don't have as many spines and all of those sorts of things. So for me, show you what the average size of a pickle seed looks like. They're not terribly tiny, which means the plants aren't going to come up terribly tiny. So you're not going to want to put as many pickle seeds as we did with the peppers. So open your container, take a few, lightly sprinkle them around. Okay, try and spread them out a little bit. Turn it this way so you can see it better. Try and spread the seeds out a little bit. You don't want to put too many in. Put the extra back in its container. Close that up. Then you're going to top this off with your dirt, a light covering. The more you pack the dirt in, and the heavier the dirt is, the harder it is for the plant to work through. Now, the cool thing about this container, you've got your drainage stuff, you've got your dirt, you've got your seeds. It's got holes. When you close it, it becomes its own little terrarium. Now it's almost at the top, so you have to watch it. When you see them start to come through, you want to open the lid. Then, because you're going to water it and it's got holes in it because this had tomatoes in it, take one of your little takeout containers to put it in, and there you have your little indoor terrarium set with your pickles. So that's another one down. Now, we've covered tomatoes, takeout, former cake container, and an egg crate. Next, we want to show you water bottles. Now, as you know, I've done a lot with water bottles in the past, usually with garlic, with onions, with leeks, celery, all of those sorts of things. But you can actually transplant and plant in your water bottles. What you want to do is not stab yourself with the scissors. But you want to take your water bottle, hold it firmly. It's going to make a loud noise. Get a hole in it. And then you want to cut it. There we go. So you're going to use your scissors. You're going to cut the top off. Now, if I was going to do a water garden in this particular bottle, I would take the top part upside down, take the cap off, and put it in here. Now, to plant in your water bottles, which this is good for corn, because corn needs a good stalk to be able to grow. You just put a hole in the bottom, put a little mulch, your dirt, your seeds, more dirt, and then it grows up, and the sides kind of act as a stake, like when you stake up the little baby plants so that they don't hurt themselves and fall over. So that's what you would do with a water bottle. We have covered a lot, and it is imperative that when you have questions that you know you can reach out. My name is Pastor Shannon Wright. This is another edition of Container to Table for the Urban Engagement Initiative, how to keep healthy food on your table without breaking the bank, and starting with things you have at home. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.